Alright, how's everybody doing? My name is Kevin.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're here to talk to you guys about our tutoring and for our class for Virginia Tech, I guess.
Yeah, mathematics tutoring, and this is our, our journaling, time about our tutoring on Wednesday, September 7th. We started out, we both subbed for the first 3 periods of the day, and Kevin and I were in academic lab. And so you want to explain what academic lab is?
What academic lab is basically is like, it's kind of like a study hall, but it's more of like, I guess, an organized study hall, because it's not like the students can just go there and do whatever they want. What happens is it's just like set up like a regular classroom, like desks, whatever, and they have a supervising teacher. And what all the teachers do is they put their assignments that are due for that day, they put them up on the board. So when the students show up, they have to open up their agendas. The teacher checks their agendas to make sure they have their homeworks written down, and then the students have to legitimately work on their homework for the day. So it's pretty much like a good way for students to like kind of like almost get away with not doing their work at home, because when they come into the school they have something to do. But for the students that don't have anything to do, or they did their homework before, they can just read, or there's computers in the back of the classroom that they can use. So I don't know, it's a nice little setup. I mean, I think it's cool. We didn't have it in my high school. In my high school, we just had regular study hall. So I don't know. I think it works out well.
Yeah, and Kevin's and my job was to help kids with math specifically, because all the teachers that were in that oversaw the academic lab were like really not math.
Yeah, they weren't math oriented.
Yeah, they weren't math oriented, and so they were really happy that Kevin and I showed up to help kids out with math. But we were also able to help kids with any subject, so we helped with English and physics and stuff like that. Yeah. It's actually kind of cool. The first period, it was just really interesting. Kevin and I showed up early, so we were like the creepy guys just sitting in the classroom, and a couple people walked in, and they were really...
Yeah, they didn't know what to do, because we were just like, we're sitting there pulling the chairs off the desk, and they're just like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of funny.
But what was really funny is that we had a celebrity come to our classroom. CeeLo Green.
CeeLo Green.
The man himself came into our classroom, singing, wearing fresh leather shoes.
Fresh red leather shoes, a red belt, like a fly suit. He had his sunglasses on, which he left on the entire time he was in the classroom. I'm not even joking. It was hilarious. It's such a character, but he was cool. All the kids loved him. Shout out to Mr. Johnson over at Blacksburg High School.
And he actually made it really good for us, because he really, I don't know, if Kevin and I were nervous, I guess I was a little nervous. He was kind of like, he really eased the tension in the room, saying,
he really did.
These are just 2 guys in the class, just willing to help you guys out. And we, each period, we stayed for 3. There was a different main teacher that kind of oversaw everything. But each period, Kevin and I helped different kids, mostly Algebra 1.
Yeah, Algebra 1 and Algebra, I guess Algebra 2.
Yeah, Algebra 1, Algebra 2 stuff. And but that was just really interesting. It was actually really cool was that when we were helping out with a lot of the Algebra 1 students, they were just solving for equations, like linear equations?
Yeah,
solving for x and linear equations. And, my usual method, I was trying to teach kids that way, and they were just like, what are you talking about? It was actually really interesting. Kevin and I actually each learned 2 new methods.
Yeah.
The done-do, and the other one called like jail time. We'll just call it jail time. But jail time was actually shown to me by one of the other fellow teachers at Blacksburg High School. His name is Robbie Nash, and but he showed us both these methods that they've been teaching the kids in the high school. So Kevin's going to show you the done-do method and how it kind of is a different way to think about solving equations.
Alright, so the done-do method is kind of like, what it does is like, it gives students a good structure as to how to approach a problem. Like, most kids like see a problem written down, and they just like, they don't know where to start, they don't know like what steps to go through. So what the done-do does is it tries to lay out these steps for you. So if we just give like example here, we could do 2x plus 7 equals 15. So what the done-do method is like you create a chart, and you have done on one side and do on the other, hence the done-do. So what you write down is, you're looking for what's already been done to your variable. So you locate your variable x, and you say, okay, so what's been done to x? Well, x has been multiplied by 2. So you say multiply by 2. And the next thing that was done to x is it was added 7. So you add 7. Now, what we have to do to get our x variable is we have to do the opposite. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do the opposite. Like the done goes down, we want to do the opposite. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just subtract by 7. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide by 2. So these are the things that we have to do. So the first thing that we're going to do is, I'm going to write this over here. So the first thing we have to do is we're going to subtract by 7, and then we get 2x equals 8. And the next thing over here we do is we divide by 2, and you get x equals 4. So what the done do method does, it just gives them a nice order of things. It like gives that it's nice and neat. It shows everything that needs to be done, and it's just a quick, easy way to like get our answer. So I don't know. I thought that that was pretty neat. I'd never seen the done do method before, and I don't know, it works. It's a nice little trick. So that's the done do. And then the other thing he showed us was what we call the jail time. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it's called, but it's a nice name for it. I think it sounds cool.
Yeah, so jail time, like I said, was shown to us by Robbie Nash at Blacksburg High School. But, you know, we'll use the same equation. So we get 2x plus 7 equals 15. And just as Kevin said earlier, you're trying to locate the variable. So our variable is x. But we're going to lock the x in jail. So no kid can do anything with it. So that makes the student have to focus on the plus 7 and the times 2 and like what he's supposed to do with those in order to solve for the variable. So kind of similar to the done do method, you know, you subtract by 7 on both sides and you get 2, but remember your x is still in jail. So you have the jail bars and everything, right? Equals 8. And so now the student still knows, because x is in jail, that he has to get rid of the 2 somehow. And since it's being multiplied, you do the opposite. So you divide by 2 on both sides. And so the 2's cancel, and 8 over 2 is 4. But now, since you have the x by itself, you can unlock it. And so you get to your answer, x equals 4. And this is kind of the way, I guess, Kevin and I were kind of taught in high school.
Like when we finding the x variable by itself.
Yeah. But I guess this just helps the student really make sure that he doesn't do anything to the variable until the very end.
Yeah.
So putting it in jail kind of just helps the student understand, like, let me get everything else done, and then I'll take it out of jail when it's by itself. So Kevin and I actually really enjoyed these methods because they're different ways to help kids just understand the math in a different way, like in a different way, so they can like think about it.
Yeah, I think it's nice, like when you tell a kid to, you know, like use the done do method. Well, it's just like, it's like boom, okay, like I need my dones, like what's been done. I need to show what's been, like what I need to do. It's just like a nice little way of like organizing. What Mr. Nash was telling us about is like it's a nice way to like show them what the processes are, because a lot of kids they see the problem, they know what they have to do. Okay, I need to solve for X, but they don't understand what steps come first, what steps comes next. So that's like where the done do thing comes in. And I guess I don't know, that's
yeah. One more minute. All right. That's bad. Hey, so Kevin and I are going to talk about kind of the difficulties we face while tutoring. Yeah. I mean, it was our first week there, so really, I think a lot of teaching has to deal with like the relationship with the students you have.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of students are uncomfortable with a person that they don't even know trying to help them. And so we actually noticed that a lot of kids refused help.
Yeah.
Or they purposely hid their work so they didn't want help.
Yeah. Like the teachers seem to be more excited about us being there than the students were, because I mean, we're there to help the students, like that's what we're there for, like tutoring, but in a sense we're really helping the teachers because that's right. But the teachers, like, I mean, like we said before, like they're not very, like, they don't have the math background, so for us to be there, we're actually helping them out, but we're really there, we're supposed to be there for the students. And there's just one student in particular, we both noticed, it was kind of funny, is she showed up and she just like sat down and got right to work. She pulled her math worksheet out and she just started going to work. And then like when the teacher like stopped the class after like everybody got settled down, and she said, "Oh, you know, these guys are here to help you guys with mathematics." She actually like just took the piece of paper and like slid it away back in her book bag and pulled the book out and started reading. And I was just like, I didn't say anything to her because I was like, obviously she doesn't want any help, so I'm not gonna force it to her. I think Andrew might have said like, "Hey, I saw you had your math worksheet out. Is it done?" And she just said, "Yeah." Like she just didn't want any help. I thought that was kind of weird. So I mean, that's the real like, I don't know. I guess like the one problem that we saw, and the thing that we need to work on the most is getting students to want our help.
Yeah, and so I mean, just leading into that, our goals for next week when we tutor next Wednesday are just to really work on, I guess, getting to know the students a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so that they're more comfortable just to be willing to let us help them. Because I feel like it's kind of a sign of humility for students to, ask for help. It's always a big deal. But I think that's probably our main goal for next week is try to really, because Kevin and I know the math, that's not a problem.
Just reaching the kids.
Yeah, reaching the kids so they're comfortable with, having us help them. But I think that wraps it up for this week's edition of the
Baker and Nicholas
show.
Yeah,
Baker and Nicholas show.
Yeah.
And we'll be can't wait for next week and see if our goals work out.
All right, see you guys next week.
All right, see you.